Hi everybody, and welcome to this lesson on the Amazon Web Services computing platform. Now, this is one of the main offerings that are utilized by most people when they're using the Amazon Web Services, and the Cloud Practitioner's exam does have a fair amount of questions on this, so we'll a little bit of the finer details of what pertains within the AWS computing platform. So what makes up computing within AWS? As you guys can see, there are a bunch of things that are within the computing platform, which is offered by Amazon Web Services. Now, don't be alarmed. You do not need to know each and every single one of these in detail for the Cloud Practitioner's exam, but it is good to know what all offerings are offered within the computing platform, and we'll look at specifically a few of them that are concentrated on or that make up the core of the computing. So the first one is the EC2, which is also known as the Elastic Compute Cloud. ECR, which is the EC2 Container Registry. There's the ECS, which is the auto scaling. There's the EKR, which is a service for Kubernetes, or some of you might be familiar with Docker. Kubernetes is another version of Docker. Then we have Beanstalk, Lambda, Lightsail, and serverless applications. So the ones that we'll be concentrating on in this lecture are EC2, we'll look at Beanstalk, we'll look at Lambda, we'll look at Lightsail, and then we'll briefly look at ECR and ECS. But the main service offered by Compute is something referred to as EC2 or an Ec2 Instance. Now, EC2 is a web service that provides secure, resizable compute capacity in the cloud. It's designed to make web scale computing easier for developers. So in layman's terms, it's basically a computer or a server that you are using in the cloud. Now, there are many benefits that are offered by EC2. First and foremost is the elastic web scale computing. It enables you to increase or decrease capacity within minutes, not hours or days. You can commission 100 or even thousands of server instances simultaneously. And when we go into the lab, you guys can see how easy it is to commission an EC2 instance. Another benefit is that it's completely controlled. You have complete control over your instance. You have root access to each one, and you can interact with them as you would any machine. You can stop your instance while retaining the data on your boot partition, and then subsequently restart the same instance using Web Service API. You can choose among multiple instance types, operating systems, and software packages. The EC2 allows you to select the memory configuration, CPU, instance storage, and boot partition size that are optimal for your choice of OS and application. And in the lab, we'll look at all of the different options that are offered by Amazon in terms of booting up a EC2 instance. It's also fully integrated with most AWS services, such as the simple storage service, the relational database, the virtual private cloud, and again, all of these we'll look at in more detail later on in the course. EC2 offers a highly reliable environment where replacement instances can be rapidly and predictably commissioned. The service runs within Amazon's proven network infrastructure and data centers. Now, the SLA for an EC2 commitment is 99.95% availability for each region. Now, that's a highly available instance. Additionally, extremely secure, and the EC2 works in conjunction with the Amazon VPC to provide security and robust networking functionality for all of your compute services. You can utilize security groups, you can utilize policies, you can utilize encryptions. So there are many different ways that you can implement security within your EC2 instances. And lastly, it is extremely inexpensive as compared to hosting something on-prem. You pay a very low rate for compute capacity you actually consume. Now, there are three different types of purchasing options for an EC2 instance. You have on-demand, which is you pay for compute capacity by the hour or by the second with no long-term commitments. You can increase or decrease your compute capacity depending on the demands of your application and only pay the specified hourly rate for the instances you use. The use of on-demand instances frees you from the costs and complexities of planning, purchasing, and maintaining hardware, and transforms what are commonly large fixed costs into much smaller variable costs. Another option is a reserved instance, which provides you with a significant discount, sometimes up to 75%, compared to an on-demand instance pricing. You have the flexibility to change families, operating system types, and tenancies while benefiting from reserved instant pricing when you use convertible reserved instances. So in reserved instances, you basically reserve machines that you will be using and you are committing to a 1 or 3 year term. Lastly are spot instances. Now they're quite unique to Amazon and they allow you to bid on spare EC2 computing capacity. Now, since spot instances are often available at a discount compared to on-demand pricing, you can significantly reduce the cost of running your apps, grow your application's compute capacity and throughput for the same budget. So for spot instances, you basically bid on a price that you want to pay for using an EC2 instance, and when that price point is met, you will automatically be commissioned EC2 instances. When the price goes above your spot, they will be decommissioned automatically. So most of the time, companies such as big pharma organizations that do a lot of analytics and number crunching, they use spot instances at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. when most of the companies are not utilizing Amazon services. And they use that time to crunch the numbers or do analytics, and they get EC2 instances at a very cheap price as compared to doing the same thing during the day or on-prem. So depending on your business case or what type of business you are in or what type of computing you are trying to do, using spot pricing can significantly decrease your cost. Now this just shows you all of the different options that are within the compute services. Like as I had mentioned in the beginning, common one is an Amazon EC2 instance, which I just discussed the benefits of, and which is covered the most in the Cloud Practitioner's exam and also in the Solution Architect's exam. And here you guys can see all of the different options that are within an Amazon EC2 instance. I've discussed most of them for you. Just a few other ones to keep in mind is an AMI, which is an Amazon Machine Image. That's basically a pre-built image that you guys can purchase when you're commissioning an EC2 instance. For example, you can use an image of a Windows server or a Linux server with pre-built applications and pre-built configurations. So they have an entire marketplace of AMIs that you can use and pick for pre-built images. This significantly reduces your cost and time to get up and running. Another compute service is something referred to as Elastic Beanstalk. Now that's an easy to use service for deploying and scaling web applications and services developed with Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, Python, and so on, on familiar servers such as Apache, Passenger, and IIS. With this service, you can simply upload your code, and the Beanstalk automatically handles the deployment from capacity provisioning to load balancing and auto scaling to application health monitoring. At the same time, you retain full control over the Amazon Web Service resources powering your application and can access the underlying resources at any time. There's also the Aws Lambda Service, which lets you run code without provisioning or managing servers. You pay only for the compute time you consume. There's no charge when your code is not running. With Lambda, you can run code for virtually any type of application or backend service, all with zero administration. Just upload your code and Lambda takes care of everything required to run and scale your code with high availability. You can set up your code to automatically trigger from other AWS services, or you can call it directly from any web or mobile app. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of these services on the Amazon Web Services console, and let's go ahead and commission our first EC2 instance.